What I am about to share with you is not just theory pulled from abstract concepts, not just academic ideas that have no bearing on real life. It is a pattern I have observed and researched after years of studying the psychology of highly sensitive people, empaths, and emotional intelligence. A pattern that reveals itself again and again in the lives of those who feel deeply. And it explains why empaths transform in ways that seem almost supernatural to outsiders. Why they seem to emerge from suffering with a strength that others cannot explain. If you have ever wondered why you can sense someone's emotional state before they say a word, why you walk into a room and immediately know the mood without anyone telling you, why crowded spaces drain you in ways that do not seem to affect others, leaving you exhausted after just a short time, or why you sometimes feel physical sensations that mirror what people around you are experiencing, a tightness in your chest when someone else is anxious, a heaviness when someone is grieving, then this video will give you the scientific framework to understand what is actually happening beneath the surface. Researchers are only beginning to map the neurological basis of empathic sensitivity, uncovering the brain structures and pathways that make empaths different. Studies using fMRI have shown that empathic individuals often have mirror neuron systems that are more active than average, their brains simulating the experiences of others with unusual intensity. Mirror neurons are the brain's way of simulating others' experiences, allowing us to understand what others are feeling by recreating those feelings in ourselves. And in empaths, this simulation happens at a level that is both extraordinary and, at times, overwhelming, a gift that can feel like a curse when it is not understood. Today, we are diving deep into why deep suffering transforms an empath into something unstoppable, and what you learn may fundamentally change how you view your gift, your struggles, and your future. The transformative power of strategic silence and disengagement is one of the most misunderstood and powerful tools in human psychology, a weapon that can reshape relationships and restore balance. Silence is often mistaken for weakness, for passivity, for an inability to engage. But research by Dr. Namke Kudenberg on conversational silence shows that strategic silence creates what psychologists call social gravity, a force that pulls people toward you, because it creates uncertainty that demands resolution. When you stop explaining yourself, something profound happens in the psychological dynamic of any relationship, a shift that changes everything. You shift from a position of seeking approval to a position of self-containment, from needing validation to being complete in yourself. Studies by Fennis and Staple on persuasion dynamics show that individuals who appear self-contained and non-reactive are perceived as higher status and more credible, their silence communicating confidence. The mechanism behind this is what researchers call the scarcity principle, extensively documented by Cialdini in his work on influence, which shows that people value what is rare. When explanation and justification are freely available, they are valued less, their abundance diminishing their worth. When they become rare, when they are offered sparingly, each word carries significantly more weight, each explanation more significance. Your silence becomes a form of psychological scarcity that increases your perceived value, making your words more meaningful when you do choose to speak. But strategic silence is not passive-aggressive withdrawal, not a way to punish others with your absence. It is not the silent treatment, which is a form of emotional manipulation designed to create suffering. True silence is active and conscious, a deliberate choice rather than a reactive withdrawal. Research by Gross on emotion regulation distinguishes between suppressive silence, which is repressive and harmful, and reappraisal-based silence, which is strategic and empowering, a way of managing your emotional state rather than being managed by it. In the context of relationships, when you stop chasing and explaining, you create what is called an absence vacuum, a void that others feel. Studies on loss aversion by Kahneman and Tversky show that people experience losses approximately twice as intensely as equivalent gains, that losing something hurts more than gaining something of equal value brings pleasure. Your absence becomes felt as a loss, which triggers a more profound psychological response than your presence ever could, because loss activates the brain's threat detection systems. The research by Bowe on relational dissolution shows that the person who ends pursuit typically experiences an increase in perceived value, while the person who is pursued experiences uncertainty and anxiety. This dynamic shift is why walking away can be so powerful, why it can change the entire structure of a relationship. It fundamentally restructures the power dynamic, shifting the balance of influence. The key insight is that your silence must be paired with genuine self-sufficiency, with a real investment in your own well-being. If you are silently hoping for a reaction, if you are waiting for them to notice your absence, you are not truly silent. You are just playing a different game of manipulation, a more subtle form of control. True silence means you have genuinely redirected your energy toward your own growth and well-being, that your focus is on yourself rather than on them. The silence is a byproduct of your investment in yourself, not a tactic to provoke a response, not a strategy to get them to come back. This distinction matters because research on authentic versus inauthentic behavior shows that people can sense the difference even when they cannot articulate it, that they can feel whether your silence comes from strength or from manipulation. Genuine self-containment has a different energetic quality than strategic withdrawal designed to elicit a reaction, a quality that others can sense. Understanding why deep suffering transforms an empath into something unstoppable is just the beginning, the first step on a journey of transformation. The real power comes from application, from taking what you have learned and putting it into practice in your daily life. So here's what I want you to do with the information we have explored today, the insights we have uncovered. First, identify your patterns. Whether you relate more to the empath's journey, the avoidance struggle, the dynamics of manipulation, or the behaviors we have examined, awareness is your starting point, the foundation of all change. Take 5 minutes right now and write down the patterns you recognize in your own behavior and in your relationships, the recurring themes that appear again and again. Be honest with yourself, because this is for your eyes only, a private inventory of your life. Second, practice the pause. Before reacting emotionally to any situation today, before responding to a provocation or a challenge, take one breath and ask yourself, is this my old pattern operating, or is this a conscious choice? Is this my automatic reaction, or am I choosing my response? That single moment of awareness, repeated consistently, changes everything over time, rewiring your brain for greater control. Third, set one boundary this week, just one small step toward protecting your peace. Make it small but meaningful, something that matters to you. Notice how it feels, how your body responds. Notice how others respond, what their reaction tells you. This is your training ground for bigger shifts, a place to practice and grow. Research on assertiveness shows that skills develop through progressive practice, just like physical muscles, strengthening with use. The psychology we have explored today is not just theory, not just interesting ideas. It is a practical toolkit for navigating human relationships more effectively, understanding yourself more deeply, and creating the life you actually want, a life that reflects your true values. Use it wisely, with compassion and integrity. Use it ethically, not to manipulate, but to protect. And use it to build the connections that deserve your energy, the relationships that nourish rather than drain. Subscribe to Human Behavior Intelligence for more research-backed insights into human behavior, for a deeper understanding of yourself and others. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, someone who is struggling with their sensitivity. Drop a comment with your biggest takeaway, the insight that resonated most deeply with you. And remember, understanding people does not make you cynical, does not make you cold or detached. It makes you effective, empathetic, and ultimately more powerful in the best possible way. A person who can navigate the world with clarity and compassion. See you in the next video, where we will continue this journey of discovery together.